Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to RJ's for the day's lunch with Monty Coleman. This past Saturday, the Golden Lions traveled to Little Rock, Arkansas to take on Alcorn State, with the Braves defeating the Golden Lions 61-14. This week, the Golden Lions will be off, but as they prepare for Alabama State next week on a Thursday night contest on October 15th at Golden Lions Stadium, broadcasted live on ESPNU. At this time, we ask the players to introduce themselves to the media. Mr. McDonald.
I'm Dante McDonald, running back, number 11, Arkansas Pine Bluff, coming from ASA Junior College, Brooklyn, New York.
All right, at this time we have opening comments from Mr. McDonald about this week's contest and talk a little bit about the bye week this week and playing Alabama State next week.
This week, we're just hoping to polish up, get back on track, man, and get our team back on the right track to prepare for Alabama State and the rest of our season also, and try to win out and regroup.
All right, at this time we'll have opening comments about this week's bye week and last week's opponent, top dog himself, Monty Coleman.
Thank you. I want to say thank you again to RJ's for letting us host the press conference here. Tough week last week against Alcorn. You know, we sat and we talked with the players yesterday, or I sat and talked with the players yesterday in our meeting, team meeting, and the thing that I expressed to them was this: as long as I've been playing, as long as I coached, there's always been one of those games, and that's what it was. That we just didn't play very well against Alcorn. It was all across the board, offense, defense, and special teams. And for whatever reason, if you look at it in the pros, look at it in college, it's always one of those games. You look at TCU, you look at Texas, they had that game last week also. So it was one of those games. Are we proud of it? Absolutely not. Did we contribute to it? Yes, we did. We didn't play very well. But the thing that we have not done, the team or the coaches, we have not given up. We have a lot of football left. We've got 6 football games still to play. More specifically, we've got a Thursday night game against Alabama State, and we're gearing up to play Alabama State. This is a bye week for us, and the thing that we're going to do is go back to old school. We're going to go back and evaluate ourselves this entire week. We will practice every day. I'll give them off on Saturday. But we're going back to the basics, going back, looking, seeing what we're doing and changing us in preparation for Alabama State. But in the meeting yesterday, the team itself, without the coaches, had a meeting, and they voiced their opinions of what they thought was wrong, and they voiced it to us when we came in as coaches, and we're all on the same page. It's not what other teams are doing, it's what we're doing, and we're going back to the basics and trying to reconcile the losses that we've had. And the team is all on board, the coach is all on board, and we're excited about this week of being off. Some of the guys who have boo-boos can get well, and we're definitely excited about playing on ESPNU next Thursday against Alabama State.
All right, at this time we open up for Q&A. Mr. Sullivan.
Nick Sullivan, Pine Bluff Commercial. I say first thing I want to ask about is just last week as a whole. Obviously, all the festivities had the legends and legacies. I talked with Mr. Hardy yesterday about it, and he seemed pretty confident that you guys would be able to have something like that again going forward. I wanted to ask you, what your opinion was of, everything that went on last week, and then what you feel about having another event like that going forward, and also playing in Little Rock maybe going forward.
Well, playing in Little Rock, we enjoyed playing in Little Rock. I don't think playing in that vineyard was the reason why we played the way we played. an event like we had last Thursday evening to raise money for our scholarship program, we've got to continue to do things like that throughout the year. The event itself with Art Monk and Jackie Harris and Anthony Jones and Keith Jackson, those guys were tremendous. We had a tremendous crowd, and I don't know how much money we raised, but it was pretty much standing room only, and I thought the event went extremely well. So to answer your question, yes, sir, we will be having other events like that to raise money for our scholarship program and for athletics itself. So very worthwhile week last week. Tiring, absolutely, but worth it, absolutely. So we will have events like that.
All right, so with all that going on, and then also with the game from last Saturday, do you feel like the bye week came about as at the best point for you guys?
Yeah, normally I try to have a bye week kind of like mid-year, kind of like what it is right now. Anticipation of a bunch of injuries. We don't have a lot of injuries right now, knock on wood. But yes, the bye week came at a great time because we are kind of in a rephasing, give us a great time to go back and evaluate ourselves, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to go and evaluate ourselves and see what we need to do different to make sure that we can win football games.
All right, and obviously Mr. McDonald over here was one of the bright spots. I asked both of you about this, but I think that was the first time I had seen him play out there, and obviously provided a spark and a burst. What did you see out of him, in practice that kind of led to that? And then wanted to ask you, what that felt like to be able to be out there and make an impact for your team.
What you saw in the game is what I see in practice. I went to the coaching staff and I told them, I said, this young man needs to play because what we saw in the game is, like I just said, is what I saw in practice. So, to have a weapon like that sitting on the sidelines, and this is his first year with us. He wasn't able to go through spring with us. He's here now. He's learning the offense, but he's very explosive. When we recruited him a 2 years ago from ASA up in New York, he reminded me a lot of Martell Mallett, and he's a little bigger, but has great speed, good hands, and as we saw on Saturday, he can run the football. So he will be in our game plan throughout the rest of this season.
Basically, I mean, before I was suffering from an injury. I had a strained quad muscle. So, I mean, that held me back, throughout the season. Coach was, a little hesitant to put me out there, saying in fear of re-injuring, but as the healthier I got, the better I practiced, and Coach Coleman, put the word in, okay, it's time to go ahead and get me on the field. And I just took the best of my opportunity, so, whenever I got the ball, I try to do what I can do and do what God's blessed me with, and help my team out, provide a spark and some passion that, I felt, so maybe we were lacking a little bit on the offensive side, and get our team, a little hyped up and ready to, make a run.
All right.
Let me just make one comment, Nick. That game hurt the coaches, hurt the players. It was a bad time for us where we lost that football game. The thing that I'm right now, I'm very confident where we are. From the meeting yesterday, the players are all on board. They had their meeting. Dante could speak to that if he wanted to. It was confidential. They did get up and express to the coaches what the meeting was about in some details, not total details. But the bottom line is they saying, hey, we're all in. We're going to do better. The negatives that we had, we're gonna correct the negatives. The bad efforts that we had, we're gonna correct the bad efforts. And the thing that I told them that's what we're gonna do as a coaching staff. So there's no division on this football team. This football team is still geared up to win 6 football games if we possibly can. That's what's remaining on our schedule. And the thing we said, we're gonna give it everything we've got for these next 6 weeks, and we'll see how the cookie crumbles.
All right, and now as far as last week was concerned, one of the things that I know for you had to be, frustrating as a coach was some of the, I guess you'd say, the extracurricular, after the whistle. I think you probably went out on the field about 4 or 5 times there to get your guys back to the sideline. Let's say, with all that, has that been something that's been discussed, and if there's any sort of disciplinary things for anybody involved?
We've got 2 guys that actually had altercations during the game that will be suspended for the first half of the Alabama State game. One is Trayvon Reagan, and the other one is Kyle Coleman. And neither one of those guys will be able to play the first half of the game. It was my decision because I saw the way the game was going. I warned the officials early when I saw some of the little altercations that they need to start throwing some flags because it's getting out of hand. And unfortunately, they didn't listen to me. When I chose not to go across the field to shake hands, that was my choice because I didn't want anything to happen like happened in 2011 against Southern. I saw the attitudes of my guys, I saw the attitudes of their guys, so it was a decision that I made as a coach that I would go over, I would shake their players, I would definitely shake Coach Hobson's hand, but it wasn't intended to be unsportsmanlike. It was just intended to hold down any type of altercation that could possibly happen. And so it was my decision, and I don't think anything would happen, but I couldn't be sure on their part or on my part because there was some cheap shots passed during the game. And, sometimes kids want to retaliate. And unfortunately, how much we as coaches tell them not to, sometimes they take matters in their own hands. So I was trying to prevent that. So I was not trying to be unsportsman, have an unsportsmanlike. I was just trying to prevent anything crazy to happen.
All right, and last thing, as far as I guess he's talked a little bit about the team meeting and all that stuff. As far as for people outside, the fans that have been coming to the games and everything, and what would you say to them as far as obviously still young, but eventually that kind of wears on the fans a little bit, hearing that over and over again. What would you kind of say to them to stick with you?
It wears on the coach too. But I mean, in reality, Marcus Terrell, who started for us this season, pretty much has 0 SWAC hours prior to this year. Nolan Sorensen, second-team quarterback, 0 SWAC hours this season. Brandon Duncan, the third-team quarterback, 0 SWAC hours. The whole left side of the offensive line, 2 freshmen. The guard on the right side, 2 freshmen. Receivers, we have some veteran receivers, but the majority of those guys hadn't played a whole lot because we've had other guys in front of them previous years. On the defense, we are a little more veteran on the defense, and prior to this game, we really had played halfway decent defense. For whatever reason, we didn't tackle well in this one. The thing that I tell the fans right now, it's not time to jump ship. It's not time to throw in the towel. We're not, as a team. We're looking at the remaining of this season, 1 game at a time, definitely against Alabama State, to rebound and win that football game. The players have sold in, bought in, the coaches, we're in, and we're going to give it everything we've got. Now, I would be magic if I could say we're going to win all 6 football games, or we're going to even win against Alabama State. I can't tell us that. The thing I will say, based on what the players said and based on the attitude of the coaches, we're going to give our effort. We're going to give it our best shot. And I think if we give it our best shot and eliminate some of the mistakes that we made against Alcorn, we'll have a real good chance of winning this football game against Alabama State. They're a very good football team. They're transitioning because they've got a new coach. So it should match up real well against us. So the thing that we've got to do is we've got to make sure that we're taking care of our business. So I encourage our fans to not give up on us. Continue to come and root for their Golden Lions as we make this march down these next 6 football games. And like I said, 1 game at a time. That's what we're going to take it.
Thank you.
Are there any more questions for Coach or the players? All right, let's give RJ's a round of applause for hosting us today. Once again, thank you for coming out and having lunch with us. Until we meet again, just keep those Twitter alerts and emails coming in, and have a wonderful Golden Lion Day.